what have you been watching? What's been top of mind for what have you been trading?
Coming into this call, I was thinking about it, and it's crazy because the last time I was on with you, nothing from what we discussed has changed. Literally, it's all the same stuff. Last time we were talking about how the market just goes up, NVIDIA leads the way, and it's the same thing. The market just goes up. For me, we've gone with the market, putting on credit spreads, collecting premium, doing some diagonal calendars. Our most recent trade, we closed half yesterday, was actually in what I consider to be one of the more stable, slow-moving stocks right now, which is surprisingly GameStop. It's settled in the 20s. It still pays good premium, and very comfortable to be in. So we sold a credit spread for $1.02. We bought half back for 56 cents. Judging where it's trading right now, we could probably buy the rest back for 20 cents today if we wanted to. Great trade, 1 week, easy, mindless. That's what we're looking for.
Before we get back to the stocks, I got to ask, because this came up last time, I think in the chat, and your first name is Adam. How often do you get told that you kind of sound like Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler? I don't know. I'll take it, though, because he's made a lot of money.
He's famous. He's rich. I mean, yeah. Someone in the chat was saying that last time, and once they said it, I couldn't unsee it or hear it. So you're selling credit spreads on GameStop. So you're essentially betting that this isn't going to make any crazy moves right now?
Well, we think it's not going to make any crazy moves down. It's pretty comfortable in the 20s. So we sold the put. We sold the 24-21 spread for July 26th. We collected $1.02. We bought half back for 56 cents, and then the rest is we're letting it ride for a little bit more, but probably buy it back today.
I'm just gonna guess here. I don't know if this holds up the argument, but I feel like you did have some other memester stocks perking up this week. DJT was very volatile yesterday, closing up 31% and trading down in the after hours. Maybe just some memesters and some retail investors that are looking elsewhere for those crazy moves. I know there was one last week. What was it? Zap, that got the whole short squeeze buzz going last week. You look at the volume candles here and the move on Zap. Maybe it's just people are like, oh, GameStop. Yeah, we got the Roaring Kitty move. Roaring Kitty hasn't been as active. Maybe they're looking elsewhere, and GameStop's volatility has just kind of moved a little bit. But when the volatility goes, doesn't that start to bring the premiums down as well if you're selling options?
It does, but the volatility hasn't moved down proportionately with the way the stock is settled down.
Got it.
So the expected move, right now for next week, is still $5 for July 26th. $4.89 is the expected move in GameStop, which is a lot for a $26 stock that isn't moving that much. So they're still playing premiums as if it's like an Amazon, but it's not. It's a lot cheaper. And listen, I'm not fundamentally saying I believe anything in GameStop. I'm just saying it's a stock that's paying good premiums and settled down, so we put a trade on it. We've also traded Palantir, Uber, IWM, fun stocks.
And as far as selling credit spreads, is this something that's your typical trading strategy? Are you selling a lot of options? Are you, walk me through your typical strategy on a stock. Do you ever just buy a common stock? Are you ever buying options, or is that kind of your bread and butter?
So individually, I'll own stocks. My audience is an options audience. They want to trade options. For the most part, they don't want to own stocks. That's why we'll do a credit spread instead of just selling a put or selling a call, because they don't really want to take ownership.
Right.
So everything's based around collecting premiums, or sometimes we will buy calls or puts to go for it. But individually, there's a stock right now, I'll tell you, I've been trading for the last month. That's interesting. ASTS, Alpha Sierra Tango Sierra. Okay. Have you heard about this one?
I have not. ASTS. Okay. It's perked up though a lot since May. You went from $2.50 to $13.50. That's definitely kind of a parabolic move there. How have you been playing this one?
So ASTS is wireless for space. They signed a $100 million contract with Verizon. They signed a $30 million contract with AT&T. And either they work or they don't. So this is a stock where I went for the wheel on it. I sold a put aggressively, looking to take ownership, took ownership, and then started selling calls above it. So in this case, I do own the stock. Right now, I sold the 15 calls out to like August. And it's a small position, but it's been trending up. And I'm like, if this is real, if it's signing these wireless contracts with all these major companies, maybe that 2 to 12 move is legit, and it could be a good thing. I don't know much more about it than that, though.
So if you made money selling the put, then you got in on the stock, and now the stock has gone up. What selling calls? I mean, are you starting to get nervous here at 13 and a half? I mean, like, wouldn't that cut into your profits selling calls if it does end up getting to that $15 strike price?
Of course, and I'm okay getting taken out. I could either roll it back, collect more premium, or just be taken out for a nice profit. I started getting in at 10, so if I get taken out at 15 and I made 50% in a couple months, great. So I don't mind missing out on more upside if that's the case.
Yeah, so you're trading options in a different way than I do, which I'm more the degenerate YOLO all in. I'm either going to make a lot of money or not. You're doing it in like a smarter fashion where you're kind of playing both sides, taking some profits and locking those profits in by doing these different spreads. I mean, how do people in your room and your audience, like, do they follow these trades? Like, are they also playing the options on both sides and kind of doing these more complex strategies?
Yeah, that's why they love the room. We do it on a video. It's a live webinar. I share my screen. We spell it out, and they follow along. And we also keep track of it all on the Trade Portfolio Manager, so they could click on it and see every component of the trade, which is great. By the way, fun fact, Aaron, just because you mentioned it, better than the Adam Sandler thing, I think this one might blow your mind just because you said the word. And you're not going to believe me, but I can prove it. I invented the word YOLO.
You invented the word YOLO?
Yes.
Okay. The first time I heard YOLO, I think, was the Drake song that
that was in 2009. If you look it up, there's a Vanity Fair magazine article and a Rolling Stone magazine article. In 2006, I had my own dating show, and on the show, I said the word YOLO, and I came up with shirts and bracelets.
Really?
And so
you should be retired off of that. You should have trademarked it. You should have sued Drake. You should have.
When Drake came out with the motto,
royalties for this.
There was YOLO Sportswear in Philadelphia. YOLO owned the clothing copyright. When Drake came out with the motto, I instantly bought YOLO.com. My original trading company was called YOLO before Drake came out with the motto. And then in the Vanity Fair article in Rolling Stone, they Adam Mesh, not Drake, deserves royalties. Just a fun fact.
Yeah.
I really invented the word.
Yeah, we'll fight for you. We'll fight for you here on Benzinga.
You just got some more street cred here in our chat.
What about? YOLO? There's a ticker symbol now, YOLO too. They should be the cannabis. They should be giving you royalties here too. You have royalties everywhere. Like AB says, you could be retired on this.
That's honestly, it's the one thing I missed on is the royalty part. That's why anything else in my life, I'm kind of humble. But when it comes to the word YOLO, which I did not get royalties on,
you're going to flex.
I feel the need to let you know. And Aaron just said the word, and I'm like, he's like, well, I traded more YOLO style. And I'm like, well, I invented YOLO. So
he trades YOLO style. I invented the word YOLO. That's awesome.
What about
Adam Dennis Dick here? I actually, right when your interview was starting, my power went out. But I've been saved by my Generac generator because the power is still up, but the Generac is going. But it's a 30-second outage, and then my stuff's got to reboot. I need to have something to smooth it out. But anyways, I'm back here now. So I did miss the first part of your conversation. So forgive me if I go into some other stuff. But what we were talking before you came on, we were going to talk the solar stocks, but we were just talking the strength in the small caps in general. And obviously, you brought us a couple of small cap names here. Do you think this strength in the small caps is sustainable? We're up 9% in basically a week here. Is this the start of the great rotation out of the mega caps into the small caps, or is this just a blip and it's going to be another selling opportunity for all the small cap bag holders?
Well, Dennis, I think it seems like the market, this isn't me just as a trader, it seems kind of almost broken, like a broken game. Like whatever button you hit, it gets stuck for a little bit. And so right now it's on that button. And so they're just buying it up, buy. And then the button will come off and they'll go something else. But it doesn't seem real, if you know what I'm saying. None of these moves seem real. Everything seems like we're living in some crazy world where like, there's just, I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I said last time we were on, we talked about the same thing, how the market just goes up. Right now, the IWM buy button is on, and you fight the tape with that.
It is. And the moves, like if you're just like a contrarian and saying stock goes up 3%, it's bound to go down tomorrow, it's like there's little pockets. Overall, the market really, seems to be choppy sometimes, but there's pockets of strength and pockets of weakness that just feels like relentless. Like it feels like Nike goes down every day, no matter what. Starbucks has been in the gutter, kind of goes down every day, no matter what. And forever in the first half of the year, we've seen the AI stocks go up no matter what. And now in the last week, it's turned and we're starting to see all these, laggards perk up here. But it does feel right. Like, you think like that IWM move, the first move, we're up $6-7. Like, oh, it's a big move. Let's take some profits. We're up another 10 points in 2 days here. I mean, it's like the algos, you're right, have their algo. I know they don't have fingers. Maybe the humanoids will eventually. But they're just holding down the buy buttons here. When do they release it?
Right. And I found, just like you just said, betting on when they'll release it, betting against what's happening has not been a sound strategy for success. You either go with it or acknowledge that you weren't there for the wedding. You don't want to be there for the funeral, but you don't try to fight it. Do not fight the table. Reminiscence of a stock operator. By the way, real quick, funny story, Dennis, just because you said both words of the keywords. Like a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, I used to have like a video guy follow me around, and I would make like market videos every day. And my friends would like ridicule me when I mispronounced some of the symbols. So the first one was Generac, like you just said you had a Generac generator. I went to talk about the stock once, and I think I called it generic or something. Like I just mispronounced it a little bit, and they just like loved it for days. And then the other one was, I'm a symbol guy. So like Starbucks, I used to call S-Bucks all the time because I go by the ticker symbols. So Nike, I always called Nike. And as I read it in the symbol, and I was like interviewing Tim Hardaway, the older one, and I said, "Oh, you got the Nike sneakers on." My friend's like, "Nike? What's Nike? It's Nike." And
they hate that.
It was a symbol, and you said Nike. It's funny. Anyway.
Yeah, like, they hate that.
I had a friend last night tell me he had an interview set up with Palo Alto Networks, and I was like, "Oh, PANW," and he was like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
I was like, I don't see the companies as their actual names. I just see them as tickers. Like that's all my brain does.
100%.
Slumburger. We always call it Slumburger, SLB. Joel calls it Slumburger, Slob. Some people call it Slob, SLB. Slob, what are you talking about? It's Slumberger. No, it's Slob.
I did see a good question in the chat, Adam, about just your general credit spread strategy. So like Daddy Backstrap, which I don't know what that name means, is asking about, I would love to hear more details about which parameters you look for in terms of delta credit premium. Because you talked about with GameStop that even though some of the volatility has come out of GameStop, the premium still remains high enough that it warrants the trade. How do you like gauge that when you're looking at these different Greeks, if you will?
I mean, the name of the user is interesting. The question is phenomenal.
I think they're talking about maybe like the little backpacks that you put your babies in. Let's go with that because I think
I hope so.
I hope so too.
So
next job.
I come from the Tom Sosnoff School of Options Trading. I've been interviewing once a month for the last 6-7 years, and he's modified my options game to the next level. So all those questions, specifically when we're putting on trades, we want to go out around 30 to 40 days. 40 days is the optimal time for premium collection. And then in terms of delta, the optimal delta to sell options at is the 30 delta. It's just where the expected move is expected to go to, but not go beyond. So you're like selling on the borders. So 40 days, 30 delta. That's how I take my approach. My service originally, one of my services was called Mesh Delta 30. So we couldn't forget to sell the 30 delta. And if you're buying options, you want to buy away from the 30 delta. Either buy the cheap ones for the extended move that could pop up or go at the money. But for selling 30 delta, easy rules to follow.
There you go. Well, we do have this QR code on the screen, Adam, and I know you're walking your audience through some of these more complex option strategies, ways to rake in some profits in a market, whether stocks are going up or down. Do you want to talk for a second about what our users will get if they sign up for this room?
Oh yeah. So I have an event today at 1:00 Eastern. I'm back. I hadn't done events like this publicly for a couple of years after I sold my company, but now I'm back doing it, and I'm really excited. It's been going well. The trades have been going well, and if they show up today at 1:00, not only will they see what I do, but they could get a couple of months free access to it, which is cool.
Nice.
All right, y'all. Well, we do have the link in the chat. We've got the QR code on the screen. We've also got the link in the description. Adam, thank you again for hopping on the show today. Thank you for being our guest producer as well as our special guest of the day. It's been an awesome discussion. Love the history lesson there on YOLO and all the
That's
things.
crazy.
Sounds like you've got some great stories. So we'll have to bring you back on sometime to hear more about your interviews with NBA players, whoever it is. You've got some cool stories, Adam.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Dennis, glad I could cover for you for a couple minutes. It was my pleasure.
No, that's huge.
I'll see you next
It was
time.
perfect time for the power to go out.
All right, Adam, have a great
Thanks,
rest of your
Adam.
day. We'll chat soon.